Well, holy smokes. China's cyber attacks could potentially take down our entire financial system. That's not good if you're exposed to stocks. And we have to analyze, is it possible that China could potentially launch a war against Taiwan? And what would potentially hacker groups do to America? What parts of America could get hit? Could TikTok potentially be weaponized to destroy our ability to respond to a threat against Taiwan in the defense of Taiwan, which Joe Biden has promised? If China were to invade Taiwan, we have promised to respond. Well, China just drove one of their warships through the Taiwanese Strait against international commitments. And folks, the fog of war seems to be thickening, and a lot of people are suggesting war could happen. Now, in my opinion, well, I'll save my opinion towards the end when I talk about what the People's Bank of China is actually up to right now. But what I'd like to start with is a piece by Politico on what might happen if China invades Taiwan. Take a look at this. If China invades Taiwan, they are likely to unleash a volley of digital strikes in the United States at the same time, which I wrote, it makes you wonder if TikTok could be weaponized as part of their cyber attack strategy. But it's not even just TikTok. Take a look at this. We're going to go through, we'll jump over here. Here we go. Here is how China could potentially attack us. Number one, military systems and transport methods for sending troops and supplies to Taiwan are likely to be at the top list of attack for Chinese hackers. Ultimately, this could mean that ports on the West Coast, potentially like Port Hueneme, Los Angeles, Long Beach, could come under attack to help limit the troop and supply movement from the United States to Taiwan. And so potentially Chinese strikes on our ports are being reported by Politico. This isn't me making this up. Politico is literally analyzing the real threats that American systems could face. One of these we'll be talking about in a moment is our financial system. But ports are actually at threat. Now, usually when I think about moving troops and supplies, I just think about Halo and the enemy has captured Captain Keyes and they're holding him aboard one of their cruisers, the Truth and Reconciliation. The ship is currently located and blah, 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 blah. And then Cortana, the ship is used to transfer troops and supplies. Whatever. This is childhood memories. I don't know why that tangent is coming up. But the point is, like, now it's actually feeling like real, like targeting the movement of troops and supplies could happen. But it's not just that. The report stressed that such a strike would be designed to deter the U.S. military from being able to even decide what to do by, listen to this, inducing societal panic and then therefore interfering with the deployment of U.S. forces. Now, this is where when they talk about societal panic, I think there's nothing more that you could do to create societal panic than potentially blowing up people's phones somehow. And I have to say, after I read this article, I made sure TikTok was not installed on any of my devices. I'll go on with a VPN and on a computer or something like that, maybe. But then again, I haven't even used it recently. But anyway, so to highlight, okay, here's the next one where they could get you. China has invested a lot of money into, guess what, U.S. ports. So they'll go as far as basically talking about crane malware. That lawmakers now are alleging that China could literally shut down the cranes that move equipment and supplies onto ships or our military vessels. China could literally just shut down the cranes potentially because they manufactured them. They also have cameras on these cranes, which some folks say the cameras on our cranes in our American ports could potentially be used by China to spy on us. How much are we moving? What kind of troops and supplies are we moving? Maybe in the case of cranes, it would be supplies rather than just troops. But anyway, the question now is, hey, how much of a defense does the United States actually have against these things? What kind of cyber warfare weapons and defenses do we actually have to safeguard our military networks? Those are questions. Another thing that could absolutely be open for attack are our energy infrastructure. After all, in 2021, a ransomware attack on a major East Coast gas line here, as Politico says, temporarily caused widespread gas shortages and led to long lines at the pump, illustrating the societal disruption that China could cause. And China could do this to create panic and chaos, but it would just not be energy or electricity. It could also be water. Take a look at this. A hacker in 2021 gained access to networks in a Florida water treatment center. And what they did is they tried to poison the water supply. I did some more research on this, and what they tried to do was remotely access the water supply network and then increase the level in the water of sodium hydroxide. That is a base that's used for pH balance. And they basically tried to 100x it, which then makes the water become corrosive. It could decompose tissue, cause chemical burns. It's important to handle sodium hydroxide with gloves and eye protection because it is so corrosive. It's used to make soaps and other chemicals. Water districts in Southern California, where I live, have been targeted as well. And look at this, business and financial markets. China has a history of hacking U.S. companies. Remember, they just stole more trade secrets from ASML, an advanced chip and advanced lithography manufacturer. And China has a history of hacking these sorts of companies. They've prioritized financial gain and stealing intellectual property, which maybe if they go over to Boxable, they'll realize there is no intellectual property and there's nothing to steal. But at other companies, they might actually steal stuff. They could also try to hit U.S. financial markets by potentially causing disruptions within the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, causing to a freezing of the stock market. I mean, imagine how crappy things would feel if all of a sudden your stocks are tanking, you don't have water and electricity, and China at the same time is trying to invade China's trying to invade Taiwan, and we can't even get our troops organized because we can't get our ships loaded up because cranes all of a sudden are shut down. We can't get anything moving because oopsie doopsies, we've created too many problems and become too reliant on either China's cranes or allowed too much of a buildup of weaknesses within our cybersecurity. This is scary. You want to get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes by going to metkevin.com/life, which is of course a paid promotion on the channel. But let's listen to what Donald Trump actually suggests when it comes to our preparedness. And hopefully this is not just hyperbole. Hopefully this is real and gives us a little bit of cause for comfort. But Tucker Carlson asked Donald Trump about the Nord Stream pipeline and who blew it up. Donald Trump talks a little bit about our military capabilities, which I'm actually bringing up because I think, well, this is exactly where we want to talk a little bit about our military capabilities. Listen in here to Donald Trump on Tucker Carlson.
So I won't answer the question only because I don't want to get our country any deeper than they already are. But it sort of all starts. We have the most incredible equipment. I rebuilt our whole military. We have things that you can do anything. We're equipped to do anything, but I refuse to say it because I want our country to be pristine. But
that's actually a pretty useful clip from Donald Trump here. It gives us maybe some hope that maybe our cyber warfare is stronger than we think. I mean, consider the fact that we have conducted joint exercises with Israel to attack Iranian nuclear enrichment plants. We have blocked internet access to Russia's troll farms during elections. We have done everything we can to aggressively attack our enemies already with our cyber warfare. But how would we fare against China? We're not entirely sure, but we do know that we're losing some of our strength, certainly in the Middle East. I mean, consider this. In the last 3 years, 3 to 4 years, we have sent over $2.5 billion of foreign aid to Egypt. And what is Egypt now doing? Well, Egypt is now apparently considering sending tens of thousands of rockets to Russia. Wait a minute. We provide foreign aid to Egypt to the tune of $2.5 billion over the last 4 years, and now that's dropped to about 174 in 2022. Maybe they're pissed we're not sending them as much money anymore. But that's based on information from foreignassistance.gov and this piece from Politico here. But it makes you wonder, could American dollars be used to actually arm Russia? What's happening? Well, it's a power vacuum that's being created in the Middle East, and people are becoming more reliant on countries like China because they can't trust the United States as much anymore, whether that's because we're not giving them as much money anymore or because of our botched withdrawals from the Middle East. But now the question is, what are the odds of China actually doing this? Well, fortunately, there's one thing we have on our side, and that's the fact that China's economy isn't doing that great right now. China is pouring cash into the financial system. They're keeping rates set at 2.75%. They just offered another medium-term lending facility to banks of $25 billion. They're reducing reserve requirements. They've done this for 5 months in a row. Basically, China's trying to turn the money printer on because their economy's just not killing it like they thought it would after the release of COVID-0. So maybe a saving grace out of all of this, maybe, just maybe, is that China's economy isn't doing as well as people had hoped, and maybe that would actually keep us in a situation where, hey, maybe, just maybe, China doesn't end up going to war with Taiwan because they're focused on their economy. That does it for us. Thank you so much. Going over the course member live stream, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.